Buju, Wago Shindagu, Migizi and Dodame, Minawa, Gaza Gasquaji Mekog, and Dunjaba. Nashkena Giwenj, in Gikanama, Wa'al, Gimiwan. Ya, Gi Anuki Nigane, Banima Wadu Kodaring, Gikinu Amaged, Anishinaabe Mawin, Banima Dush, Ogi Ojitun, MIIN Ojibwe. MIIN Ojibwe, Minawa Ogimawi, Iwidi, Minawa Odoji Bian, Rosetta Stone, Gekinu Amadi Winan, Gewenjo Gi Tejikan, Niboa Gegu Ogikendan, Anishinaabe Mawin, Minawa Ga, Minaguziang, Anishinaabe Wiang, Oga Mad Un Bungi, Tajikang, Minawa Gishpinwi Kogwedwe Gegu Mano Gida Kogwejamawa. Misaganabaj Minik wa Winda Magian Gazaga Squaji Meka Gema Gamasquawa Kokag Ojiba. Yeah, Gimiwan Ijinakazo Makwan Dodeman. Yeah.
Gawin na smasher Zoom link di ibi mouse.
Oh, Gawin Zoom link Gigi Mina Sinun. Beka Nij Gikaminen.
Wapitain Dawgas it all Sabacacia. This little town is going to go.
Yeah. Nashkena. There you go, Niji.
Great.
Giminen. I was just getting him the link because he's going to share something with you too, kind of via the Zoom here. But Gigi Nisido Tanawa na could you follow me when I was doing a little intro? Okay, good. Yeah, he's a longtime immersion educator at Nigane, at Wadukudading. He started a nonprofit really designed to help build the next generation of Ojibwe language teachers. That's an interest for both of you. And then he's also been kind of the workhorse that's been building all the content in Rosetta Stone. He's like done a lot of good things for our language. He's the Leech Laker and also a Bear Clan guy. Ojibwe name Gimiwan. And a good friend. Here he is.
Oh, ho, miigwech. Puju ginawa ginasadawan and Nasabakashi. Ani Jayaganashu and Akalza and Iji.
Dax.
Dax. Tibeshka Kanamug.
He was probably up at Red Lake when you did a site visit up there
Minagay
earlier.
Dax.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow, me, wait. Miigwech buggity egg to begin in a goog. Me to go away we wabin in a goog. In a dago gage. Modern Okiwa doshke ayagwe. Did you come on to Ojibwe? So really quick, I just want to pop in as a member of our nonprofit, the Midwest Indigenous Immersion Network. Like Wagosh was saying, we're a nonprofit that started a few years ago, and our primary focus is to help Ojibwe immersion education organizations, whether that be OOG, that's an adult language organization, and also a language nest, or Nigane, which is a K through 5 elementary school. We're really looking just to help out the classroom educators and the administrators. And one thing that all of our partners tell us is that they need more teachers. So we like to stop in college classrooms or Ojibwe college classrooms and let young professionals know that there are viable and much needed career pathways for you working with your language for the rest of your career if that's something that you're interested in. So I'm just going to show you all a couple of examples. Pull up my internet. No. Can you both hear me all right?
Audio coming through, all right? Okay.
Not this. All right. So this is our website, Midwest Indigenous Immersion Network. If you go to About, you can see our network, and our network shows all of our different Ojibwe language immersion organizations. Now, not all of these are immersion organizations. Two are community organizations that really work with language revitalization at a community level. but produce materials that are monolingual, just in Ojibwe. So there are 6 current Ojibwe immersion elementary schools, about 5 Ojibwe immersion Head Starts or pre-K options, 2 community education programs, and 1 adult learning organization. So you can see they're mainly focused here in Minnesota, with 2 in Wisconsin. 1 is just getting started right up here in Mayfield, and then 1 each in Manitoba and Ontario. We've got an elementary school down here by Detroit, and another elementary school up here by Winnipeg. If I can scroll up, I went too far. Up by Winnipeg. So really a lot of action and a lot of organizations, all listed here on the left. Their directors listed here on the right. 2 are without a director at the moment. They're hiring new ones. But if you're interested in learning more, getting involved with immersion, really wanting to jump in and focus on using your language throughout the day as part of your primary position in your career, you can feel free to explore any of their organizations through their social media and website links, which are here on the left, and even reach out to their directors for more information by emailing them here on the right. But it's not just Ojibwe immersion where help is needed. I'm sure you guys love Wago. She's an incredible educator, taught me a lot, never got to take one of his classes, but that doesn't change the fact that he's taught me quite a bit. And I'm sure you guys want to become educators as well to help other people learn Ojibwe. And if you do, it's not just at Ojibwe immersion organizations that we need help, it's also in our public schools. So what we've got here is just some information on Minnesota public schools that show us where our Native American student population is in the state and how many of them have access to Ojibwe language education. So we can see there's really more. This year we have about 29,000 American Indian students counted in the state. This is a year old, the data. There's a new counting system in place, so we get a little bit more of an accurate count now. But we, for those 29,000 Ojibwe students, we're only able to find 54 total educators between Ojibwe and Dakota working with American Indian languages, which means that only 6,500 students had access to language instruction inside of their district. So really what it shows us is, not just what we're hearing from our immersion organizations that they need more staff, but that really at the state public school level, that there's an incredible need to triple our number of existing Ojibwe language educators. And beyond education, there's a great need for language inclusion in all aspects in our communities, especially our reservation and reservation adjacent communities and our larger urban population communities. So I'm just here to come and toot your guys' horns, hopefully, and tell you guys to keep puffing your chest out and being Ojibwe and working on your language and never back down from that. And remember that if it's something you want, people want you, right? They want you to come in and help in their communities. They need help in their organizations, and they will work with you and help you grow because you will help them grow as well. So feel free to check out the website. We have a little career section there. We always have active postings. I need to pull that back up for you guys so you can see. So up on the top, we have a careers section. And these are for our partner organizations that we had on the map. So you see Masabikong is a K-5 immersion school in Duluth. They're hiring a teacher next year. We have a digital artist position open. Lakudere Ojibwe School is looking for Ojibwe language instructor. Wadu Kodading is looking for an admin member, right? So we try to keep this as current and updated as possible so that people can have a one-stop check-in place to see where the open positions are for Ojibwe language, whether it be instruction or inside of one of our organizations that work with language consistently. So check out the website, cruise around. We've got a lot of great resources on there as well. And always feel free to reach out if you have any questions or would like to get in contact with somebody and having trouble. Love to help you connect.
Mm-hmm. Chio Nishishin. Giwi Wabanda Agana, Chigadig teacher guides, Rosetta Stone.
So do either of you use Rosetta Stone?
Just bought it 2 days ago, and I just got the link and everything to set it up today.
Very cool. And Nusabakashi?
MIIN. I do.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we showed this to the last group, and at least one person was excited about it, which was good. But we have these leveled resources on our website. And what we tried to do here is just post resources that were really, really specific to monolingual learners and monolingual practitioners inside of the field. But our adult learning section has a little bit of extra stuff as well, including right here, the Ojibwe Rosetta Stone project, and this link, this little hot link down here towards our teacher's guides. So like Anton said, I've been on working with Rosetta Stone as a contractor for the past 4 or 5 years. And Wagosh used to be on the steering committee, which helped to identify really the path of what we're going to develop inside of Rosetta Stone. So when they hired me on originally, it was to create these teacher's guides. And when I'd asked the steering committee what they wanted out of the teacher's guide, their response was they wanted activities that would help teachers to get students to elicit Ojibwe language in the classroom. So the majority of these activities are focused on either comprehending spoken Ojibwe or getting the students to speak Ojibwe. But each of the teacher's guides are about 500 pages long, and they go right along with the 48 lessons inside of each level of Rosetta Stone.
Yeah, this is so cool. Like, I think, you know, we have a pretty small cohort for this class, but Asubakashi wants to keep learning his language and get back into the immersion work, whether it's at Red Lake or somewhere else. And Winona, you know, she's got Wisconsin connections. There's also has a lot of family in Milwaukee. So, you know, she may very well end up like running an Ojibwe program for Indian Community School or something like that.
Cool.
And so, you know, if you did like a classroom integration of Rosetta Stone, something like this, you know, Winona, it's got a 500-page teacher guide for year 1, a 500-page teacher guide for year 2, and it's got it's about 150 lesson plans for each of year 1 and year 2 of Rosetta Stone, and there'll be more developed until they have a 6-year development of Rosetta Stone. So, you know, you could really scaffold out an Ojibwe program with a lot of this stuff done and easily applied in your workspace. So it's definitely worth looking at those teacher guides. Now I saw where the teacher guides were hyperlinked on your website. Are they also hyperlinked on the Anji Bemidji site?
So they're hard to find, and it kills me because it took a lot of work. But if you go to anji.org, which is part of the Anji Bemidji work program, that's their website, and you scroll down here to click register for more information for Rosetta Stone. You need to scroll down from here and go to the second blue link, which is Rosetta Stone for schools and other groups. And once you get there, you need to go to the second blue link again, which is Rosetta Stone Teacher's Guides and Supplemental Educational Materials. But, you know, along with the teacher's guides, we also have a glossary of every word that's inside of level 1 and 2, alphabetized both in English and Ojibwe. And the scope and sequence we had produced this year, I thought would be helpful for individual learners. Let's say, you know, you're working on level 3 and something comes up and you're like, geez, I know I heard that somewhere. Where did we work on C form, conjugations, and initial vowel change? You can pop back to this document, which is just a really quick one glance outline of each of the different concepts in each of the lessons to this point to identify where you need to go back and check for that information. And I say really quick, it's like 12 pages, but we have a lot of lessons up to this point. So really useful, really helpful, and really this whole program was designed to try to get in place to be used in like high school and college Ojibwe courses.
Mm-hmm. That'll be very helpful for the classroom integration, especially as the word gets out.
And that's what we'll be pushing on our new project when it comes to the individual district curricular consistency project.
Mm-hmm. Super awesome. All right. Winona, Sabakashi, any questions for Gimiwan or comments?
Nothing right now for me.
Okay. Yeah. We got him here for about another 25 minutes. So if you got things you want him to cover, we'll put him to work. How about Gimiwan? How would you advise these guys? Like, you know, when somebody has been starting with their Ojibwe, they've been at it for a little while, they've been taking some classes, feel like, you know, all right, I want to make sure I don't plateau. If you're learning German, you can go to Germany and do an immersion year or something, and it can really push you over. And it's difficult for Ojibwe to get exactly the same experience. How would you advise them kind of holistically, either with school programs or whatever, to keep advancing their language learning so they can be the delivery vehicles for this going forward?
Yep, and that one's a really super easy answer, right? And I've gotten the opportunity as well as Wagosh to work with hundreds of young individuals who want to learn their language over the past couple decades. And the answer is Ojibwe. Gabay Gijagway Godogway Nayana Gadawain Daman Wajagayan Gishpanawea Gaganona Gishpano Ojibwe Sigmano Gaya Gidao Ojibwe. Gishpano Ojibwe Gigo Ojibwe. Gishpano Ojibwe Siwan Gaman Gigo Ojibwe Sin, right? If you want to speak Ojibwe, speak Ojibwe. That's the number one thing. And there's all kinds of additional aspects to that, right? Like build your community, no matter where you're at. You know, extend your community to find other learners who you want to spend time with. Make the physical effort to be in the presence of other speakers and other learners, right? Attend your ceremonies. That's a great way to get more language and be around other people who are of a similar mindset and want to contribute to their communities. You know, and those are just suggestions beyond what you already know, which is listen to Ojibwe, read Ojibwe, practice Ojibwe. But really speaking Ojibwe is the number one ticket if you want to grow professionally or individually with your language. In Wagosh, I was just talking with Wagosh about this. We see it all the time with new learners who want to learn Ojibwe, but don't realize that means they have to put themselves out there and be super comfortable making mistakes and super comfortable making those mistakes very publicly and putting themselves out there to try to grow as a speaker. A lot of people make the mistake of learning Ojibwe by reading about it and writing about it, but that's something most of us learned how to do in early primary levels of elementary school, right? Like by first and second grade, most of us can read and write. So there's no point in spending our adult lives trying to learn Ojibwe through processes we already understand and can do well. So speak Ojibwe, force yourself into positions where you have to speak Ojibwe, and surround yourself with good people who also want to do the same thing. Naya.
Chio Nijishin, sit-ups.
Sit-ups, yeah. I was telling him I always wanted a six-pack. That's my example I give people. I want a six-pack. I don't know if you've ever met Wagosh in person, but I'd love to have Wagosh a six-pack. So here's what I do since college. I read books about doing sit-ups, right? And then I'll like write about how to do sit-ups, and then I'll go to the gym and I'll watch some dudes do sit-ups, right? And I'll talk to my wife about how they did sit-ups, but I'll never do a sit-up, right? Am I gonna have a six-pack? Or am I gonna have like my current dad bod, right? So it's the same concept no matter what you're doing. If you want to develop that muscle memory and you want to really fine tune and hone that muscle, you need to practice, right? Same thing with speaking Ojibwe. You know, talk about doing it, think about doing it, feel it, love it, want it, but until you do it, nothing's gonna happen. So it's great hearing you guys already started with that and using our language. So keep that up. The more you use it, the easier it becomes.
Yeah, they both went out to TAG this year and they met some people, and they, you know, I think as much as anything, soaking up the vibe of other people who care about the language is really good for them.
Did you go to the bar at like 9 p.m. and see the first language speakers getting tipsy and singing songs in Ojibwe? Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was going on. Wagosh was too give a squay to you know, to make his contribution there. I was getting a little hoarse.
Oh yeah. I remember when
Dax was like, "What happened to you?" I was like, "I don't know."
When I was a teenager, well, maybe I was about 21. I got to go to TAG with Wagosh, Keller Pap, and Adrian Liberty.
Oh yeah.
And the four of us sang karaoke all night one night. That was nuts.
Yeah.
You know, I was out of my league.
no drinkers, but we still shut that bar down.
Yeah, nobody was drinking. It was crazy.
Oh, this is shouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, and other things too. You know, keep using whatever you got. Doesn't matter how clunky you might think it is. A lot of us like, you know, perfectionism is the opposite of doing things well. We become so inhibited that we never do anything. So just keep leaning in and, you know, stumble, bumble, and rumble and put yourself out there. I found also like seeking out language-rich spaces can be really helpful. And, you know, it used to be a little more the case, like you could just go to the elderly feeding center, you know, and hang out because they're all speakers in there. That's a little bit harder to come by nowadays, but there are some other things that weren't always there. So like, I would certainly recommend checking out OOG, you know, like the adult immersion program. Like you get into one of those cohorts and, you know, they have an intensive program in the summer for a time. I think they even shortened it up to a couple of weeks. And then you kind of have a maintenance session once a month on a weekend. And that has been really helpful for folks, you know, to get to a higher level. I spend a lot of my time at ceremonies, but that's just another place where you're more likely to hear more language. You know, and it's certainly a place Gimiwan's connected and spends a lot of time there. I do too. And so we're just very happy to tell you what's up and when things are going on and show you around at any of those places. You know, are always welcome. And those are just great opportunities to like just get a sense for some of the other stuff that's out there. A lot of times I hear a lot of people like, oh, no one ever showed me anything, you know. And I think there's, you know, it can be frustrating because not everything's handed on a silver platter. We just got to make your own luck, you know, just keep going for it, put yourself out there, ask the extra questions. I think sometimes, you know, elders don't also know, like nobody taught them how to mentor people. They just ended up getting older. You know what I mean? So it's new for them too. And see that grayness right there? Yeah. And then, you know, it's just something that people are trying to discover and figure out. So I think sometimes, you know, older folks too are used to an old school approach, like, well, someone will ask me tobacco, I won't mention it until they do, you know, or something like that, which means you just got to keep breaking down doors and impoverish yourself with tobacco and keep giving someone a pinch and say, what can you help me and share with me a little bit about our language? Those things really help.
And don't ever be shy, right? Like, and not even in regards to what Wago said, right? Like I've been doing this for about 20 years now. Never run into Marlene, maybe. I rarely run into an elder who didn't want someone to try after our language, right? And who didn't want us to come talk to them, listen to them, and show them that they're valuable, we love and appreciate them, right? Like no elder's ever gonna turn you away because you're coming up to them with tobacco. And if they are, you know, probably a lot more going on than concerns you, right? But beyond not being shy about that, don't be shy about your own growth and what you don't know. I always hold this with me. I remember one time Wagosh and I were driving up to White Earth for Big Drum. This was, you know, 18 years ago, give or take. And I didn't know how to say the word sock. How the hell do I say sock? This is pre-smartphones, right? For you youngins out there. And I was too shy. And, you know, we'd been driving together for an hour and a half. We're good buddies. I was too shy to ask him how to say sock because I had this weird guilt and shame that I didn't have a basic vocabulary word, right? And all it did was delay my own personal growth for a while, right? Like, and I had that kind of, what's the right word? Hesitation towards approaching and asking others what I thought were not valuable questions, but there's value in all those questions. Don't ever be shy. Always reach out, always ask the questions, always be ready to make mistakes. And remember, mistakes is like the most basic avenue towards growth and learning, right? And it's so intertwined in who we are as people. I love Wayne Abuju stories because every one of them says the same thing. It says to be human is to err. And if you can't make mistakes, then you must not be human, right? So to be Anishinaabe is to be an a-hole via all of our Wainabuju stories. So feel free to be an a-hole and make your mistakes. I mean, not in a bad way, but you know what I mean.
You can tell them about when you called me to ask the word
Oh
for
my
walrus.
gosh. Yeah, that
How's your
happened.
gun?
What's that?
How's your gun?
Yep, Ajigan,
Good.
Niji. Yeah, I didn't know how to say that. Here's a good example of being an a-hole. So one time I was working at Nigane. I was working with two old ladies, first language speakers, Leona Wakanabo and Geraldine Howard. And it was must have been like a Saturday work session or something. And we'd come in just to work on language or translating books for kindergartners or something. And the word walrus came up. And I said, how do you say walrus? And Brigitte Kingston said, I don't know. She looked at Jerry and Jerry goes, call Wagush. So I was like, all right, I'll call Wagush. We're sitting at the table. And this is, you know, people had cell phones back then, but they didn't use them. So I picked up the real phone and I dialed his phone number. I called him and I put him on speaker, which is different on those old phones. And so he's sitting there with me and the old women on speakerphone. He's sleeping in. You were sleeping.
Yeah.
And he picks up the phone. What? I say, hey, Niji, I'm sitting here with the LOLs. It's a code word we had. LOL meant little old lady, but it also meant laugh out loud because they would always be laughing. So I'm sitting here with the LOLs and we're looking for a word for walrus. You have one? He says, yeah, I got a word for walrus. You got a pen? I said, yeah, go ahead. He says, okay, spell this out. Sorry, spelling this. N, yep, I, okay, M, A. Says, read that back for me. And so I looked at it and I said, Neenug. I said, oh, God damn it, Wagush.
Yeah, and then I just went click.
Yeah, then he just hung up the phone on me. And the old ladies loved it. They laughed their butts off. And it's the last time we ever called Wagush for a word.
Yeah, I've never been called by them ever since.
Yeah, so even when people treat you like that, still ask questions.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I you know, I some no pride hazing of Gimiwan and others. Yeah.
Oh, it was good. Good stuff. But yeah, no, always be open to letting yourself grow. Never be the one that holds you back. You know what I mean? I know a lot of learners do that and they have this Wagush and I were even talking, you know, some people get intimidated around speakers. Don't do that, right? Like I always tell people they look like a hot dog, right? Because I'll walk up to some people when they're speaking Ojibwe and they'll go, and they'll just lock right up. No one does that better than Wawa Chaos Keller Pap. I don't know if either of you know Keller, but man, Keller walks into a room and every Indian just locks right up. Oh crap, be on your best behavior, speak your best Ojibwe, right? But nobody wants that, right? So just be brave, put yourself out there, make mistakes. The best learners are the learners who are willing to grow. So, you know, keep at it, be proud, bug the hell out of people, and make your own path.
Mm-hmm. Hola, Chinigwech. Kiwi Kogwe Dwayne and
Is
Nugget.
it gay?
Yeah.
Very neat.
What? What is your shin? Yeah, Winona's down at Mankato. And the Mankato students have been taking Ojibwe classes here over the, first we used interactive TV technology, that's now antiquated. We've been doing Zoom classroom, although even that needs a bit of an upgrade because not everything's working in here the way it's supposed
This
to.
does.
It's doing the trick for now. Oh, that's a high-tech niche right there.
I love
Did you
that.
see that? How'd you do that?
It happened. Try this. All right.
Oh, Hanishinange.
Try this one and watch what happens. Just kidding. No, nothing happens if you do that. But that would be
Am I
very
doing it
fun.
right?
I think it's, I don't know, because it happens on Google Meet for me too. I think it's like a computer update on my Mac. I don't know. It happens on Microsoft Teams. It always happens. I'll be like talking with my fingers and then like really weird stuff will happen in important meetings.
You must be hitting a reaction button on Zoom.
I don't know. It's weird.
Sick.
I know. We're learning all kinds of things today.
Okay. It's not gonna tell me.
I don't know, DG. It just happened one day. And I'm serious, I'll be in like important meetings and balloons will happen.
You're trying to get me back for
I'm
walks.
not trying to get you back for Ginug. I have no idea how it's happening. I'm also old Wagosh. I don't know how electronics work. Well, how'd you do that?
Well, that's under the reactions on Zoom.
Okay. I'm sure this is not what you guys thought class would be today, but it is. So that's cool. Hey, if you haven't followed us on TikTok or Facebook, check us out.
Oh yeah, did you show them how they can sign up to get a
Yeah.
text of the day?
I'll do that too real quick. Let's Damn it.
I just signed up.
Did you really? You haven't been signed
I
up?
hadn't done that yet.
So glad one of my best friends supports me. Let's see. So, we do have a Facebook page, right? If either of you have Facebook, check us out at Midwest Indigenous Immersion Network. And we do post a lot on behalf of our partners. So if there are events coming up that have anything to do with Ojibwe language, if there's new resources available like this feelings thermometer that we translated for the Department of Head Start, right? Anytime there's something super relevant to monolingual Ojibwe language use, we're going to be posting it on our Facebook and generally on our TikTok as well. So if you want to check us out, Midwest Indigenous Immersion Network, a lot of great resources coming through here every week. Check us out. And then additionally on our website, we have this little box down here on the left, text me in Ojibwe. If you're interested, you can put in your mobile number and your email, and we'll send you a text every weekday with an Ojibwe word and a link to the dictionary and a little breakdown of the word too.
And yeah, ew.
Right, wicked Niji Migwage.
What's today's word?
Wapiguamo.
Wow.
Yep.
Piguamo.
Yep. He's laughing in his sleep.
Scary.
No. Yeah, bopping guamo. We try to mix them up, get
Who
different.
puts the words together for the word of the day?
Usually Og, she'll make a list of about 2 months, and then I'll go and review and make suggestions for changes, then we'll preload.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, whole
Nice.
process. Yeah. We've had one typo in like 4 months, and I was mad at myself that I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but reach out, keep going, guys.
Mm-hmm.
We could goo.
Oh,
Talking about this with my twin, but I was sitting there listening to like speakers, and I'm trying to figure out how to stop like listening and try to translate everything in English in my head. So like it's hard. Yeah.
It's 10 words because you're thinking about the one word.
Like I'm trying to translate it in my head instead of just like listening. Like I always revert back to English in my brain, and how do I stop doing that?
You know, what's helpful for me is try to find a reasonably length recording and then listen to it on repeat for a few weeks, right? While also looking into the vocabulary inside of the recording that you're not used to, and teach yourself how to kind of like grow and extend your listening comprehension skills. So I like to use what Anton's worked on the Oshkosh Native Journals on the BSU website. Try to find a reasonably length, like 1 to 3 minute recording on there, and just go after it. 1 week, 2 weeks, really start to build a comfort level with that one recording, and it'll help you to kind of develop familiarity with the speaker, with the language inside of the narrative, which will help you to increase your tracking skills across the length of the recording. Does that make sense?
Big witch.
Yeah, give it a shot. Or use Rosetta Stone. We got a lot of cool stuff. Same thing in there. Or both. But yeah, that's just going to take time and practice. We all do. I still do that.
Miigwech for watching today. I'm Anton Troyer.